So, this might not seem like that big of a deal. Reading and writing an EF Johnson 5100 with PC Configure is not only very common, but it's also very easy. The difference here, though, is PC Configure and really all of the different radio CPSs, a lot of programs for that matter, are meant to be running on Windows. And I'm actually not running on Windows right now. I'm actually running this on Linux. So, to me, that's a little bit of a bigger deal because so I'm no genius when it comes to computers. I still barely know what I'm doing when it comes to working with Linux, but this is a switch I've been wanting to make for a while. I've been getting fed up with Windows for some time, but I've stuck with it because of, like I said, the various radio programming software, WinTAC, all that. They all need Windows to run. So I've just kind of dealt with the constant pop-up ads that I'm getting from Microsoft wanting me to play some new Xbox game on whatever it is. I'm not into that. Don't want those pop-ups. So I've just been dealing with all those pop-ups, dealing with the Windows updates, installing features that I never asked for on those computers that just kind of like to bog things down. But now with Windows 10 going end of life, recording this on the morning of the 14th, so Windows 10 actually going end of life today, I've really had the drive to actually switch over and try to make it work. And obviously it's been a little bit more of a learning curve trying to get into Linux. I mean, it's an entirely different operating system, all kinds of stuff to learn there. But it honestly hasn't been that bad. It's actually been a lot easier than I expected, especially, so I have Linux Mint running on this Surface, and it's kind of classified as a just works distribution, which honestly I have found to be the case. Like, I set this up, got it connected to my Wi-Fi. No real special thing I had to do there, but it got on and it found my network connected printer and installed it and got it working. So it's really a lot simpler than it was in the past. Plus, there's a ton of information out there on YouTube, on Google, wherever, on how to get Linux working. People have been using it for years. Now, it has taken a bit of work to get this far with PC Configure, and it's not a one-size-fits-all solution either. Because the program that I'm using right now to run PC Configure is called Wine. It's basically an emulator for Windows to make the programs work. Well, it doesn't necessarily work with the Armada CPS that I need for my VP600 radios. That doesn't work with WinTAC, so I've actually been having to try and get some Windows virtual machines running on this PC and get them talking to the radios and to the various other drivers that are required to make it work. But even still, it really hasn't been that hard. It's just been a learning curve, and once I find that simple little thing here or there that's kind of holding me up, all of a sudden it's working. So personally, I don't see switching to Windows 11 as an option, at least for me anyways. I have one laptop that it runs on right now, and I hate it. Like I said earlier, it's the constant pop-up ads. It's constant updates I didn't ask for. They're trying to integrate AI into the very structure of the operating system. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of the data mining that Microsoft has been doing. That's just not what I want my computer to be doing. Not to mention there's still some radio software that won't run on Windows 11, like PC Issue for the 5100s. That one needs to run on Windows 10 or earlier. And sticking with Windows 10 isn't really going to work either because it's going end of life today, so it won't be getting security updates anymore. Sure, they are offering continued security updates for another year if you're willing to pay for it, or if you're willing to sync all of your computer settings to Microsoft's cloud, which, let's be honest, neither of those I'm going to do. I don't want anything to do with syncing the settings to the cloud. And another thing I just found out Microsoft is doing too, they're getting rid of local accounts on PCs. So you can't just have an account just on your laptop. It has to be something that's connected to Microsoft's OneDrive or something like that, I don't want to have to be signing into an online account on all my computers to make them work. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to wanting to retake control over my computers, over my equipment, my systems, my services. That's why I've been so heavily focused on radios. That's why I took the time to set up my own tax server, which I've finally got running the way I want. That's why I've been tinkering around with Reticulum as well. You've probably heard a few other accounts on here talking about Reticulum, so you'll want to pay attention to that, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on there with Reticulum. Lots of cool capabilities. So, suffice it to say, getting started with Linux here, this is just the beginning of some of the stuff I'm going to be doing here on the channel. Now, like I've said before, I'm not a genius when it comes to computers. I still don't really know what it is I'm doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing with Linux, how to make everything work. So I do not want to come across like I'm offering tech support on trying to get it set up. And I don't really have the time or bandwidth right now to answer a whole bunch of those questions. But if you happen to be following me on Patreon, if you have some questions about how I was able to get things set up, I will answer some questions over there on Patreon. And I know I've been a little quiet over there recently. I am trying to get some more content going over there. Maybe we'll do some stuff about Linux over there. Yeah, otherwise, if you have any just kind of general questions, drop them down in the comments below and I'll help you out to the best I can. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around this long, and we'll talk to you again soon.